What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about how to set boundaries with people in your life, whether these are coworkers, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's your significant other. And if you don't know how to set boundaries with people in your life, I think you will probably get a lot out of this video because until recently, I don't know, maybe a year or two, I was also the type of person who did not know how to set boundaries. I hated confrontation. Still to this day, I don't really like confrontation. But I hated it so much in the past that I would let people kind of walk all over me instead of setting a boundary when they would do something wrong. I wouldn't speak up until, it got to the point where it was like, it had been going on for so long, and then I would just get so frustrated that I would blow up at this person and it would, be this whole big thing instead of what I should have done, which was to set the boundary as soon as possible, as soon as the first, let's call it violation happened, to set the boundary then. Then, I would have been able to preserve my relationship with this person or these people, I guess, as it is. And it would not have had to turn into this whole fucking dramatic thing where, it ends the friendship or relationship or the relation with a coworker or family or something like that. So, in this video, I'm going to explain to you my strategy for setting boundaries with people and some of my experiences that I have had using this strategy. So before we get into it, this is not one size fits all. Obviously, every situation is different. And in every situation, you're going to kind of need to look at what's going on and act accordingly. In other words, you're going to act one way towards a coworker as opposed to somebody who you're dating, as opposed to your mom, for example. But the principle is still pretty much the same, right? Which is that as soon as you get that feeling where somebody, you have some sort of interaction with somebody, they do something, and you get that feeling where you're like, wait a minute, that's not right. There's something wrong here. This is like violating. I can't think of any other word other than a violation. But this is somehow violating the social contract where we're supposed to be nice to each other, we're supposed to be friendly, we're supposed to help each other, like whatever the agreement is, right? As soon as that happens, you have to say something immediately. You have to say something fucking on the spot as it's actually happening, which unfortunately is the most difficult time to actually do it, right? Because I don't know about you, but like I said, I'm not the type of person who likes confrontation. I don't like fighting with people. I don't like arguing with people. I don't like raising my voice. I don't like causing another human being any sort of pain or suffering. And that's something to keep in mind, is that when you are setting a boundary with somebody, it's possible, it's unlikely, let me say, that they are crossing that boundary on purpose, right? It's very unlikely that they're going out of their way to fuck your shit up or piss you off or be a bitch or do something bad to you. That's very unlikely. It's more likely that that's just how they've been living their life up until this point, and they've done it with everybody else, so now they're doing it with you. And this is where setting the boundary is crucial to maintaining any sort of relationship with that person. Because if you do not do it on the spot the first time, every single time after that gets a little bit harder. Now, if you don't do it on the first time, don't worry, don't beat yourself up, because if it happened once, it'll happen again. So, I could talk about my own personal experience, right? The worst case scenario is where you don't say anything, like I said. The worst case scenario is what I mentioned in the initial example, where it's like, you don't say anything, you don't do anything, it just happens, and you quietly resent them, and then one day, fucking 6 months later, all of a sudden everything fucking blows up, and you start screaming at them and say, you always do this, and they have no idea that they actually did anything wrong because you never set that boundary with them. They always just kind of assumed that it was okay. So, better than that is to say something as soon as possible. Now, it's also possible that what'll happen is somebody will do some sort of violation, right, in the social contract. And you won't really you'll kind of be caught off guard. You'll be like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen. Why is this person fucking doing this? And this is all unspoken, right? But what you're thinking is we had this agreement that our relationship or friendship or whatever was supposed to be like this. And now they're all of a sudden doing this other thing that I didn't expect them to do that is not okay with me. You don't really know what to do in the moment. You're kind of caught off guard. And it sometimes will take a little bit of processing. You know, it's the famous, or the joke where it's like, you know, something happens and you think of a comeback in the shower like 3 days later, something like that. That's okay. And that can happen with this as well. But you just have to, you know, mentally prepare and say to yourself, okay, the next time they do this, whatever it is, I'm going to say something, and this is exactly what I'm going to say. So there's no real way around this, okay? You have to do it, and if you don't do it, your interaction with this person is going to get progressively worse, regardless of what it is, whether it's a boss, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend. It is something that absolutely needs to happen. Otherwise, like I said, you're gonna blow up one day and it's gonna go to shit. This is especially common with guys who are seeing a girl, right? You're dating a girl, maybe you don't have a lot of options, and you are, you know, you're getting used to her, you're being all lovey-dovey and cutesy with her, and then all of a sudden, you know, she fucking turns into a crazy bitch and fucking does some fucked up shit, and you're like, wait a minute, like, I care about her so much, I can't, you know, I can't say this to her, otherwise she'll be sad and she'll leave me, or whatever it is. Right? Interestingly enough, I was watching a video by this YouTuber called AMS, Alpha Male Strategies, this like black dating coach who's like really hood and fucking, he gives really good advice, but just the way that he talks is like, he's like from the street, you know what I mean? But he gave great advice, which is like basically the same thing that I'm saying right now about setting boundaries, but his was more specific to like a dating context where he said, you know, if a girl like starts to fucking act bitchy with you, she's not doing it on purpose, but she's just acting bitchy because she's just like biologically wired to test the man that she's with to see if he will leave her. These are his words, not mine. So what she does is she acts like a fucking crazy bitch to see if he'll leave her, because if he does leave her, then that means that he has other options, right? And if he has other options, then obviously he's a high value man, and girls only want to be with high value men who don't need them, right? It's the paradox of like female attraction, which is where they only want guys they can't have, they only want guys who don't want them, which I guess to some extent is similar with men as well, where we do like to chase, and we do like to get something that's not easy to get, or that does involve a little bit of challenge. Anyway, he said it a lot better than me, but bringing it back to like a general sense, if you are, and I guess what he was saying is that you need to set the boundary with her, and his whole thing, he took the nuclear approach, where he was like, you just need to leave, like you need to like get out of there, you need to move out, you need to break up with her, you need to fucking end the relationship right away. I don't think you need to be quite so extreme with that. I think it's enough to say what you're doing is not okay, I don't like that, if you do it again, like you have to give them what's called a cue. Okay, you can't just fucking blow up one day and be like, sorry, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, I'm done. What you do is you give a cue. You say, hey, that's not cool, or that was very rude, or that was very disrespectful, or I don't like that you did that, or don't talk to me like that anymore, something like that, right? Where they know, you give them kind of almost like a hint that what they have done is not okay. And this is not just for like in a dating context either. This can be friends, this can be guys for guys, girls for girls, your fucking boss, family member, whatever. Okay, this is something that I really haven't figured out until maybe a year or two ago, and I forget what it was, I was reading something about bullying. And the idea with bullying is that, you know, there's this whole fucking safe space bullshit where like we need to protect the kids, which I think is stupid. I think what you need to do is you need to teach the kids to stand up for themselves. That's really what you need to do. Whether it's teaching them how to fight, or just really even more than teaching them how to fight, you need to teach them how to call out a social violation as it's happening, right? You need to build that muscle, I guess is the best way to put it. And what I remember reading is that in order to get kids to stand up to bullies, you have to teach them to fight back in some way. They don't have to come up with the wittiest comeback. They don't have to win the fight, but there has to be some kind of pushback, right? If somebody's making fun of you, you don't have to like come up with the most clever line to clown them back. There just has to be some kind of pushback. You have to say something, you have to do something, you have to tell them to fuck off, like You have to do something to them so that they know that you will actually push back. Because it's just human nature that we attack weak people, right? You see weakness, and it doesn't matter how nice you are or how sweet of a person or how gentle you are. Something about how humans are wired, we are naturally inclined to take advantage and really, unfortunately, like torment people who are weaker than us. So make sure you set those boundaries. If you guys have any questions about that, or you have a specific situation that you want to ask me about, let me know. Leave me a comment. If you guys have any suggestions for other types of videos, let me know in a comment as well. Peace.